What's up, internet? I have been working on an explosive spear titan build for the next patch. They are massively buffing this skill. It's going to get 200% increased attack damage on frenzy charge explosions, and also an increase in the width of the explosion. So it's going to be a lot of damage, and it's already a decent amount of damage. The only thing that holds it back is the frenzy charge generation. Now, that's not much of an issue because we are going to be running resonance with endurance charges converted to frenzy. And then all we need to do is use these supports so that you break armor and get the endurance charge, which gives you the frenzy, and then stun, which gives you another frenzy charge. The reason this is so easy is because obviously we're Titan, so we get crushing blows. This is getting buffed as well in the next patch. They're consolidating this so that the more damage is getting put on here, and it'll be 25%. Hulking form is not getting nerfed, which is kind of insane, but absolutely God bless them. The one thing that is getting nerfed that we are still using is the Viper Cap. Now, this is a short range build. We are running Overwhelming Presence, we are running Blasphemy, so we want to be in close range. So we will always be surrounded. They're changing it so that it requires just one enemy to be surrounded. It can't be set to 0 anymore. We don't know if these passives are getting nerfed. We haven't seen the new tree on the numbers, but I'm going to assume that they're not going to nerf this, and they're just doing the minimum of 1. That's a massive nerf to long range builds that do screen wide clear, or builds that use something like Tempest Flurry or Whirling Slash to get around, which is kind of did need to be nerfed. So but yeah, essentially how it works is we stay close and we just throw spears at our feet. You can see it instantly breaks armor and it instantly stuns. Yeah, and if they're far away and we're not surrounded, we'll do no damage. But the nice thing about that is eventually, if you're not doing any damage, they'll get closer to you and then you will be surrounded and you will do damage. So it kind of solves itself. There's some other tech involved in this build. As you can see, I do have Headhunter, but this was just put together with whatever currency I had left. I was running Hollow Palm, so this is not optimal. But yeah, there's some things that are also important. You will need a scepter with high spirit. Just a regular scepter will do before you can get this, but it's not that necessary. I am running Wind Dancer with the exact same supports as Explosive Spear, just so that, as you can see, it also instantly breaks armor and it instantly stuns. The damage on this, or Wind Dancer, is getting nerfed, so you probably won't run this anymore, but it could still be good, or just in the background, because you're running an armor build, it just procs all the time. So yeah, there are some important spirit gems. Overwhelming Presence for reduced stun thresholds important, and Scavenge Plating, because we are an armor stacker and we are armor shredding. You will probably still get one shot even if you're stacking life and have a ton of armor, but you will be stunning a lot, so there's survivability in that. There are some very important notables. One of the main ones is this, so that the stun just instantly breaks armor, and it will usually be enough to just instantly give you the armor shred as well, so you're maximizing the amount of frenzy charges you're getting. For bossing, Explosive Spear is not that great for getting frenzy charges. You only get one shot really per boss at breaking armor and stunning, so that's not, you won't be able to rely on that. I'm running Gathering Storm with Perfected Endurance, which essentially means you can just do that and it will give you a frenzy charge. The rotation would just be throw a spear, do the perfected Gathering Storm, and throw another stick. That is more than enough for bossing. but there could be optimizations that are available, especially if you scale the shock magnitude. For really juiced content where you might struggle to get the first frenzy charge because you have none and the first hit is not going to do that much damage, you can just use Wind Blast. This gives you a ton of stun buildup and will just instantly give you enough to get a frenzy charge. See here, it just is really good, guaranteed days, and gives you a ton of frenzy charges. The playstyle is literally just walking up to things and throwing the spear on the ground. There is a version of this where you can eventually get enough currency to switch to Chaos. As soon as you can afford this, which is also getting buffed massively alongside all the other paired Chaos lineage supports. This will be enough to have the Chaos damage be able to break a ton of armor. The other reason you would want to go this unique spear when you switch to Chaos, if you do have the currency, is because you get access to Chaotic Surge, which allows you to use Eshe's Radiance, and you can put that in alongside the where is it? Here, Overcharge. Overcharge will reflect shocks back on you, but it'll give you a ton of magnitude. You just need to run this notable so you don't shock yourself, and it works perfectly with Explosive Spear. This Chaotic Surge will pop on the same location, and you will just be doing a ton of shock. You can get it up to about 60% magnitude with very little investment, and it's just in the background giving you a ton of free damage. It also opens you up to be able to use Herald of Thunder, and if they haven't fixed the Herald chaining, you could potentially do Herald of Ice, where it explodes. It does the armor explosion on Herald of Ice and then chains into the Herald of Thunder, where your Herald of Thunder is doing embitter damage, so it switches to cold and freezes, and then I'm pretty sure they'll fix that. But if they don't, that is an option. And then eventually, if you are very rich, you can get the Palm of the Dreamer. But at that point, it doesn't really matter. You'll just be wiping on screens anyway, so it's usually just a bit extra once you do have it. If you do switch to the Chaos version, you do just swap out Elemental Weakness for Despair, and then you can run a From Nothing duel here to hit Chaos Inoculation, so you can get these nodes with Wither Magnitude and Wither Away. You will also run obviously Withering Presence, and that scales a ton. You might need to do a Presence of Effect node here, because we're Titan, this is increased by a lot, so it is pretty great. It also synergizes with Overwhelming Presence. There are a few anoints that are pretty good. This is pretty great, Overheating Blow. There is this as well, if you do switch to Chaos. This is also a really good one. But for general purposes, we'll want Frenetic, just so we can get an increased frenzy charges. It really doesn't matter. You don't need to store up that many frenzy charges, but it is nice to just have it constantly in case you run into a tanky array or something like that. I am using the weapon swap with Wind Blast, just for increased stun buildup, but it's only really to get you started on some maps. Usually, it's more than enough to just throw non-frenzy charge explosive spears. All right, that's basically it. If you think of any optimizations, let me know, but it's pretty straightforward. There are some important things like this. This is super expensive. You'll probably only get this much later. But it works really well with the cluster of notables around here. You can sacrifice a couple of the rage ones to get this as well. This is an important one as well, because you can get increased small passive effects, which synergizes with Hulking Form, and you get like 43% attack damage on a node, which is ridiculous. This is also a really important one, just to get you more frenzy charges when you stun a rare. The rest of it is pretty straightforward. Yeah, unfortunately there is a lot of traveling to get to resonance, but everything along the way is really good, so it's not that big of a deal. And I'm currently using a from nothing for these because you are running armor, so you do need a little bit extra, but it's not that important. And yeah, hopefully hulking form is not going to be nerfed, and hopefully these surrounded nodes are not going to be nerfed. But everything looks pretty okay, and just keep in mind the amount of damage that they're buffing Explosive Spear is quite ridiculous, and it seems to be pretty good already. So yeah, we'll see. All right, thanks for watching.